I just want a minute and a half again to refer to this article by Nelson Amenyo on page 15 of the Daily Nation. A few days ago, I shared a graphic on X comparing the GDP of France, which is $3.5 trillion, with that of the entire African continent, $3.1 trillion. Simple numbers, but the response, anything but. From Nairobi to Lagos, Accra to Cairo, the comments poured in, a digital wildfire of disbelief, frustration, and painful realization. How, they asked, can a continent of 1.5 billion people, so rich in culture, natural resources, and raw talent, match the economy of a single European country with just 60 million cities? It was more than a statistic, it was a gut punch. And yet behind the anger was a deeper hunger for change and answers and action, because Africans are done explaining why we have not caught up. We are done apologizing for our potential. We are done waiting. But anger is not a strategy, and emotion is not infrastructure. If we want transformation, we must trade outrage for ownership, and we're not the first to face this choice. It is such a good article. It is. He even goes on to give an example of the Airbus, how when a European nation was saying, oh, you know, we're going to do the Airbus, and Boeing was like, Sasa, what is this? And then he goes on to say, the A380 was not just a plane, it was a political statement, a job creator and a leap in aerospace. Factories popped up, technology advanced, and even though the plane did not dominate, Europe got richer, smarter, more competitive. Experts say the plane was not good for the world, but was good for the welfare of Europe. It's that part of turning the anger and the outrage into strategy and into thinking through what works for the continent. Because this is collectively the continent saying, imagine we're done. We know that, we know exactly why we're being ripped off. But how are we translating that into something else? It's a fantastic article.
1 billion GDP for Africa, 3.5, is it trillion? Sorry,
yes.
3.1 trillion GDP for Africa, 3.5 trillion GDP for France. That's what got people angry.
Across the continent, literally.
You know, I think we need to give ourselves a little grace, because how did France get to 3.5 trillion? A lot of it is built on what was taken from this continent. So as we get angry and decide to push forward, that's all right. We need to own and get into the ownership space, but also get contextualized and be like, it's okay.
Extend grace for...
Yeah, that 3.5 trillion didn't come from thin air.
True. And that
Very
also
true.
then, look at it and see that then you have the potential to actually even make more.
Yes.
Much.
Because if you are the source of the raw material, then just decide, okay, so let me use the source, all right? And I like what Nelson is saying. This is, it's a call to action. It is, all right, enough with the whining. Now, what do we do? The first thing is getting ourselves accustomed to information.
Getting accustomed to information.
Yep.
Very well
Get
said.
comfortable with information.
Right, and now the information that we're getting comfortable with for the next, 2-3 minutes or so.
It's going to cost a bit more.